Okay, in this part of the tour of the NASCOM S6, I'm going to demonstrate basic use of the process module and the knob module. And the way I've got it set up right now, it's kind of like a traditional console where each strip is associated with a particular fader. So if I select my vocal track down here, up here on the process module, I can select what's on the knobs. And right now it's on sends, and you can see my plate is there and my lead vocal is there, and I can turn the level up or down and turn on or off those sends. Personally, I think that's very cool and one of the probably most simple but useful things about the desk. Now you can have other things show up here. What about EQ? Boom! Here are 4 bands of whatever EQ that happen to be up, but it's only some of the parameters, because most plug-in EQs have a lot more than 4 knobs. You can get through different parameters by moving the arrow buttons. And so that's the EQ. Obviously, I got dynamics. This particular channel is the only one out of these 5 here that has any dynamics processing on it. So this, I believe, is an LA2A. So I can kind of control those parameters there. So you were starting to see here, and I think inserts will close. Well, this will actually bring up the parameters of the Renaissance de-esser. That's kind of cool. That's what I just did. So it's pretty powerful. But basically wanted to show you up here is we can do sends, EQs, dynamics. You can even program user setting, whatever you want it. You can bring your pan up too. This is a surround sound mix, so you're showing the parameters of the panner. But if it was stereo mix, I believe this top knob, or the bottom knob, I think it's the top knob, becomes the panner. So this is pretty cool, and this is the pan as well. So this is a pretty easy way to get around it, and not too complicated. Do note that maybe you noticed this, that when I was bringing EQ up, they are all changing. That's because I have this all knob pressed. If I don't have the all knob pressed, I can come up with unique situations where this one is on EQ, this one is on dynamics. Of course, there was no dynamics for this one. And this one is on sends. And of course, there are no sends for this one. So I've got, you can start having each fader strip have its own set of knob usage. You can program this to be stored and it's brought up for certain configurations. It's a very programmable configuration. Probably for most of us, and we don't spend enough time with this desk, just living in all mode. When you grab EQ, they all go to EQ. For me, I probably spend most of my time in sends mode. Now, one other thing to show you about this. Let's expand. Obviously, like I mentioned a moment ago, like the EQ here, you're only getting 4 knobs of your EQ. That's not enough. And using these arrow buttons to go through the parameters would probably be kind of time consuming. If you hit the expand button, EXP, and you've selected a channel, now the entire knob module is now dedicated to what you've selected up here for that one channel. So these are all the parameters of the fab filter. And if you, Alex, if you look at the screen here, I actually spent some time one evening with this, and I spent some time making sure I mapped it so I knew that this was going to be the high band. I think this is my high pass filter. So I spent some time kind of making this map work. And you can do that for EQ or your dynamics process. You can even program how this works for different plugins. But that's a pretty powerful mode. They call it an what do they call it? An expansion zone or a tension zone is what AVID calls it. But basically it's expanded. And of course, even regardless of me selecting other faders, it's still stuck on that one channel. This I can go grab other things. And this particular console has 3 knobs, sets of knobs. You could have different ones assigned to different things and dedicated to that. But for us newbies on this console, it's the guy that you've expanded that's going to be expanded. So if you unexpand, it will go back to being per strip, per channel. So to summarize, not expand, per channel. Expand, whatever one you selected goes all over the place. And you just need to spend a little bit of time here kind of figuring out how to map, grabbing what you want. Personally, I think aux sends is pretty useful most of the time. And of course, the all button lets you do them all at once. Great. Thank you.